I, female 23, graduate university this year, and it's been a struggle from start to finish. I lost my motherhood halfway through my studies due to a medical condition, and graduating this degree was always questionable. My dad was always supportive with studies, but not much else. He only had negative thoughts on my treatment I needed for the medical condition, demanding that I woman up, as it was selfish for me to go through with the treatment that would compromise my ovaries. He did, on the other hand, help me push through the final year, and now we're coming up on deciding on the graduation date. Going back in time a little, my father started seeing my stepmother, female 55. She and her daughter, female 24, both hated me and my older brother, male 24. They would bully us for being stupid, going nowhere in life, etc. Obviously, all behind my dad's back. The bullying got so much for my brother, he left with nothing and decided to start again on his own. I managed to keep quiet and move away for university, where I've never felt more safe and comfortable. Stepmother would always brag how her own daughter is a genius with an action plan on how to take on life. She dropped out of university to have a child and lives off stepmother's income as a single mother now. Makes no effort to change or have an action plan. But people started seeing through this, so now suddenly I'm the number one child. Me and my older brother went through significant abuse with our biological mother. It has left us with so many problems, trust issues, and put us both back in education. My older brother graduated his course 2 years ago and is now a qualified electrician. I, knowing the abuse he and I shared and know how hard it was for us to push through everything, I asked him if he would like to be one of my invitations to my graduation. Behold the problem. My dad is now refusing to come to my graduation, as I'm now excluding my stepmother, who's apparently been there for me since day one. We had a huge fighting match about it, how ungrateful I am for all the support she has apparently provided me, and that I'm going to be this selfish and a bit about family, then I can go to my graduation on my own. So I may have turned around and told my dad that I'm no longer going to his wedding if he is going to behave like this. We are currently not on speaking terms, and my stepmother is physically shoving me out of the way whenever I'm near the family and is also refusing to speak to me. My older brother is asking me to ride it out, let him calm down, but right now I'm pretty solid on not wanting to attend the wedding. The wedding is 4 months before graduation. Am I the idiot? Now for a few comments. WildSand8727 said, I'd say definitely. Not the idiot. You were treated very poorly by the both of them, and you have no obligation to show them respect when they didn't earn it. It's good that you're paving your own way in life, and I'd focus on yourself and your success. They're only going to cause you more stress and problems. Graduating takes a lot of work. So congratulations. If your own father doesn't want to celebrate that with you, that's his loss, and you have no obligation to watch him get married to a woman that has treated you like garbage. Judgment, not the idiot. Now for the 6 weeks update. Hi guys, I have a really upsetting update. Currently looking for emergency accommodation after the stepmother upped her game and started putting on the pressure more. No longer than 2 nights ago, I was making a sandwich in the kitchen, and my father and stepmother pushed me out of the way so they could put their bike helmets on the chopping board of all places. Anyway, I asked if we had any mayonnaise in, and my stepmother replied, "Stepno, check yourself." Me. Okay. She then glared at my father, and for whatever reason he completely lost it and said the following statements. You may need to reread the OP for some context on some. You are such a victim. Your whole life you are a victim, just like your mother. All you cause around here is pain. Get the frick out. I freaking hate you. You are the most unwanted person in this household right now. Why the frick are you here? Frick off. He was stating all these comments while pointing and screaming in my face, my stepmother smirking in the background. I did have some absolutely nasty comments to say in my head, but I kept quiet and replied, I'm not speaking to you while you have your voice raised. At which point, my stepmother then got up in my face and said, Ungrateful witch, don't speak to your father like that. To whom I simply replied, Sorry, who are you to think you can tell me what I can and cannot do? To which my father launched himself at me. I'm unsure how far he was planning on going. My stepmother grabbed him and said, "Come on, babe. We need a break from this toxic piece of work." After they left, I started uncontrollably crying, and I rang my brother in complete panic, begging him for advice on what to do. He drove to me as fast as he could and picked me and my pets up. He asked for me to find a friend to stay with tonight for my own safety. He then explains to me the reason why he left back in 2018. This exact thing with the stepmother starting an argument and looking at my father for backup. My brother explained if I went back tonight, he'd be worried the police may end up involved. As I stated in the OP, my father has helped me through a lot in the past. When my mother was harassing myself and my older brother, he did his best to protect us. He helped me through short-term psychosis when I was 14 and was there for the recovery. Last night, I felt like my safety net, the only parent I had left. The man I looked up to was no longer there. I unfortunately got so emotionally distraught from everything that's happened since this upcoming of the wedding. I did go outside with a note and had intentions of no return. I will not go into details. I will say I'm extremely lucky. A police officer spotted something off about me and came to my aid before it was too late. Before this happened, I walked out of the house and to the end of my street. I was scared and in complete tears, to which then I spot my stepmother and father walking up the street, coming towards the house. My father sees me and looks away in disgust, and my stepmother grabs her grandchild and screams across the street, "I love my family," then looks me dead in the eyes and smiles. This was the final hit for me, and why I'm so grateful there was an observant police officer to save my life. So as of right now, I do have an appointment to seek help on what happened above and me getting to that point. I'm utterly devastated and heartbroken that I'm having to walk away from the one last thing I felt safety in. It's extremely hard, and I will admit I am the biggest mess I've ever seen myself. While waiting for emergency accommodation, I've confided into my room. I'm scared to make a noise. I'm sneaking around to use the bathroom and kitchen, as I do not want another argument to spout out. Yes, obviously, the wedding is a write-off for me. I didn't ever think a wedding would cause this much pain. Thank you all for your kind comments on the previous post. I'm sorry for such an awful update. Here's hoping that things will get better. Now for a few comments. Full Derp HD said, "Sorry to read all that. It's time to find a job, move out ASAP, and never look back." Sadly, blood is not always thicker than water, and sometimes the best option is to cut ties. Here's hoping that things will get better. Things will get better. You are a college graduate, and that is a huge predictor of having a successful life. What did you go for? This is the really stupid part on my behalf. Only reason I moved back in with my father, as he offered to let me live rent-free while I was saving for a house. My rent was ridiculously expensive. I'm still working alongside my studies. It's just finding a place that will accept my pets and I at such short notice. I did originally leave shortly after my brother, as I started noticing the problematic behavior from my stepmother. I was stupid to think it would be different this time. I'm studying illustration and forensic science. There's a job path known as a forensic illustrator I'm working towards. Thank you for asking. Not stupid, just optimistic, which is a good thing. Sounds like you have a good heart. That's awesome. They are the people who make the sketches for crimes, right? That's going to be a fantastic career. The best work is work where you feel like you are making a difference in life. I'm in healthcare, so I can attest to this. You're about to be one of the people who help others get through the dark times and find some justice. Now for the 2-month update. The wedding. I didn't go to any of the dress fittings or events leading up to the wedding. I spent most of my time searching for future plans and a way to stabilize my life, because this has been an absolute roller coaster. I didn't need. We get to one day, 24 hours before the wedding, and my dad on his own knocks on my door. I'm really sorry about everything that's happened with the wedding and the pain it may have caused you, but I can't miss having my only daughter at my wedding. My childhood taught me not to hold grudges with people. It taught me to lower your expectations of people to avoid being hurt. Not entirely sure if that's a healthy outlook on life, but it has saved me a few times. I explained to my dad about the previous comments that he made towards me, the medical comments, all the way up to the fuck off comments from my first post. He holds out the most unflattering dress I've ever seen and continues, "Your stepmother chose this for you. I know she's not considered your body shape or anything with this dress, but it's all we have. I can see some of the malicious things she's done towards you and your older brother." To explain to you the dress, I'm a size UK 8, 5'3" with an hourglass figure. The dress on me made me look like a rectangle. It was restraining on the butt area, and I had to hold up the top half of the dress constantly. The dress was a cappuccino color and dragged across the floor, and I kept tripping up in it, just trying to show my dad how it looked on. My dad was mortified with my stepmother's choice and said, "Let's give it a you touch." By that, I think he meant adding my goth aesthetic to the dress. I was able to lift myself up with chunky Doc Martens and not the 3-pound heels she had found for me at a charity shop, which were the wrong size, and she knows I've never worn heels in my life. I explained to my dad I'm still firm that I'm not going due to the whole original reason this wedding turned into a hateful mess. He then explained to me that he was hurt that I was making sure I was excluding my stepmother from my graduation. Hold on, what the actual frick? I never even thought by asking my brother to come that brings out that I was being malicious. I explained to my dad the reasoning of wanting my brother there, and it wasn't some backhanded way of telling my stepmother she can't come. You can literally purchase extra tickets if she had bothered to even look into it. I tell my dad, where the hell did he get this assumption? Yeah, you guys probably guessed it. The bride-to-be herself. This all happened 24 hours before the wedding. At this point, my dad and I have now hashed out an agreement that I'll go to the wedding, but can leave if I felt uncomfortable at any time. The wedding day, I get a text message from my brother wishing me good luck with Bitchzilla, as he will be only attending the wedding and not the events prior. The breakfast. Me, my dad, bride-to-be, stepsister, and her daughter, F5. We will call the daughter Lily for less confusion. Bride-to-be had a photographer taking pictures of us eating breakfast. Not sure if that's something I'd agree with. I don't want people having a photo of me seagull swallowing eggs. The breakfast was mostly silent, besides my dad kept nudging me, making sure I was okay. Meanwhile, Lily started having a meltdown, angry that she wasn't the center of attention, and started throwing forks at the bride. I decided to get up and walk outside as this was just anxiety-inducing. My dad thanked me for staying with us, and we continued with the day. Hair and makeup. Me, bride, stepsister, and Lily. The hair was an absolute nightmare and embarrassing. The bride was refusing to speak to me whatsoever, to the point she asked me to have my hair done in a separate area of the salon, while stepsister and Lily got to stay with her. I didn't know if there was a code for the dresses or whatnot. I was so confused. When asked by the stylist, I asked, "I don't know, you're going to have to ask the bride what I'm meant to have done." She goes off and returns with stepsister. Stepsister looks at me and says, "Just do some curls. We don't care, to be honest." She stays for a few minutes, and the stylist tries to have some small talk with me, asking if I had anything else planned, and I tried to talk about the upcoming UK festival I was planning to go to after the wedding, which was an absolute mud bath, if anyone was wondering. Before I could finish my sentence, stepsister laughs and speaks over me. "Yeah, she's into all that emo screamy stuff, hee." The stylist, "Oh, is she? That's so sweet." Me, just like what the actual frick. I got a phone call when they were drowning me in hairspray, and it was my dad. He had a last-minute panic. My brother and his girlfriend had now dropped out of meeting and greeting the guests and begged me to do it. I've never heard my dad sound so stressed in my life, so I decided to agree. After all, it would save me from having to spend more time with these guys. The makeup was done by the stepsister's friend. We drove to stepsister's house. The absolute anxiety when she pulled out mucky-looking palettes from her car and brushes that could start a sandstorm if flicked. I don't really wear a lot of makeup, or wouldn't even be able to tell you more than what is an eyeshadow and foundation. Again, stepsister just said, "Fix her," and I was absolutely blasted with the entire shop floor of makeup. I felt so uncomfortable and embarrassed by how much they had sculptured my face. The lashes were so long I couldn't put my glasses back on. The photographer was there. She was taking pictures of the makeup being done, etc. This is a key moment. The bride pulled out gifts for the three of us. To my beautiful daughter, thank you so much for being in my life. Hugs, kisses, photos. To my beautiful granddaughter, thank you so much for being in my life. Hugs, kisses, photos. Thanks for coming. Throws gift at me with disgust. Photos. Yep, that happened. When we got the wedding photos back, the absolute bombshell that caused, I'll get to that in a moment. My dad then drove up to the house and picked me up. Here's where things get fun. The wedding part 1. Me, my dad, the wedding party. The weather was wet and storming to add to the drama. Dad was in panic beyond words that my brother had dropped out from greeting the guests. I was given 5 minutes to get ready. I throw on the dress. I literally have to hold up and put on the boots. My dad gave me a huge hug and gave me instructions on what to do. Please keep in mind, I'm the most introverted person these people know, so this was a big ask. I arrive at the venue and started greeting people. Everyone was stunned to see me. There was a weird rift of, "That's not her? Oh my God, it is her," in the room. I had the entire party, both on the bride's side and groom's side, tell me what a glow-up to see me in a dress and that I looked stunning. I don't normally wear dresses. This was the first for a lot of them. I did the instructions which my dad gave me, which was pour drinks, make sure everyone's comfortable, etc. My brother then arrives and mingles for around 10 to 15 minutes before coming to me and stating everyone is talking about how well you look. The bride is not going to be happy. I shrug it off and continue to make sure everyone's happy. My dad then turns up and the wedding is about to begin. My dad hugs me and thanks me again and again for how grateful he is. My brother isn't too happy as he thinks I've not stood my ground. The wedding goes off pretty well, and I'm also happy because I was mostly on bartending duty as orders of the bride. This is another key moment. The wedding is talked about for about a week straight after the event, and again, people kept asking about how I managed to make such a show. No idea how I did that in a rectangle dress, but here we are. The photos were then sent to my dad and stepmother. The arguments they caused. I'm unsure if the photographer did this on purpose, but she and her husband caught every time stepmother, bride, was horrible to me. The breakfast, the gifts, me being in a separate area in the salon, everything. Then there's me, only being in one photo with my dad, because as you all know, I was busy bartending free of charge to their guests. I was asked to leave the room, and a huge major argument shot out. The next day, a brand new motorbike was wheeled into the drive as a graduation sorry present. My dad explained how sorry he was for never seeing this and is now coming to my graduation with absolutely no issue if the bride joins him or not. Since then, he's been on this sorry train, trying to make up for what's happened. Even on my birthday, he isolated both of us, and we spent the day doing things I love. Poor guy had to learn to rock climb with me. As of right now, stepmother, bride, is avoiding me and avoiding trying to hurt me after the wedding. My brother is upset with me because he feels I took the motorbike as a bribe for my father's poor behavior. I do accept his point of view, and the way my father treated me was unforgivable. But this wedding was a blessing in disguise. It showed my dad how cruel the woman is to his children. I will do one more update for the graduation, but that wouldn't be till November though. I can't thank you all enough for your kind comments. It's helped me see through this awful situation. Until then, I wish you all the best. Now for a few important comments. Your brother is right. You need to leave these people behind. I agree, but again, I'm in that mental grasp of holding on to my dad. Now for an update. 3 hours later, after reading the comments on the previous update, I decided to go to my brother and show him the threads and posts. We both just want to make some things clear. We are both on talking terms. My brother is happy I went to the wedding because it shone a light on the bride being toxic, and his opinion outside, people are now looking in, especially after the wedding photos and how I had to handle the jobs. He also states that he didn't expect me to walk away there, and then, as there are 23 now, 24 years of hooks in me to keep me staying under my dad's control. It's going to take some setbacks to come out of this as strong as possible. I've agreed with him to seek help to try and grow a backbone to be able to set and keep boundaries and start to peel away from him for good. And I just wanted to apologize to everyone who's been following this post for how clueless I was on the bribe. I keep holding on to a memory of a father who clearly isn't there anymore, and this is the wake-up call I needed to get up and move on. Thank you all for your advice and support throughout this roller coaster. I'm sorry that I let a lot of people down by backing on my words. I'm ready to now make a change. Thank you. Now for a few more comments. We all make mistakes and have moments of doubt, but it's how we learn and grow from those experiences that truly matters. I feel so awful about how I handled the situation. I really want to fix things and finally start living for me and not in a hurtful situation. No matter what the driver for your actions, I suspect you'll be better prepared for your solo launch. Don't look at the motorbike as a bribe. Look at it as compensation for historical abuse. You owe nothing in return. Take every opportunity to set up yourself for your future solo success. You deserve it. When you launch on your own, don't feel guilty and like you have to make everyone comfortable with it. Not your job, not your burden, not your problem. Focus on you and your needs. It may be overwhelming, but it will get easier. And once you can breathe freely, don't get fixated on how you've been wronged. Time has a way of balancing the scales without you nudging it along. Am I the idiot for refusing to invite my fiancé's disrespectful friend to our wedding and ending the relationship? My fiancé and I have been together just under 6 years, dated 3, engaged 2.5. Great relationship relatively. Our friends and family all get along well with the other person, no issues at all, except for one of my partner's best friends. Said best friend has never liked me and seemingly had it out for me the entire time. She basically ignores my existence, refuses to speak or be cordial to me, but as soon as she sees my partner, she yells and hugs him, talking about, "Hey, best friend," while ignoring me even though I'm right next to him. I told him about it and how it made me feel, and at first it went unaddressed 2 to 3 more times because he needed proof to make sure there was an issue. After said proof was present, he spoke to her about it, and she got a little better, but only around groups of people and like twice. She indicated she doesn't have a problem with me, so he felt I am the only one having an issue and I need to just approach her and talk it out. I told him I'm not doing that because she isn't my friend and he needs to do so. A couple weeks ago, we attended a mutual friend's party. I attempted to make eye contact and say hello 2 to 3 times, but she avoided me and refused to look at me the whole time. My fiancé noticed because it was so blatant. I don't want her respect, don't need her to like me, don't honestly want her around at all. I just want her to have basic human decency. This situation has caused me to rethink my relationship and ending it because I feel my fiancé is in the wrong for engaging with her after seeing how she completely disregards me. I think now, but mostly after marriage, we're supposed to be a unit, and I wouldn't allow this behavior from a friend. I've been feeling like a jerk because we spent the better half of a nice drunken evening arguing about this, and I told him she can't come to our wedding as I won't have someone who can't seem to stand me near me then. Am I the idiot for telling my fiancé she can't come to our wedding? Verdict, not the idiot. Now for a few important comments. Kuwait. Not the idiot, but I am surprised that you decided to marry someone who allows such behavior toward you. I don't want to ruin what has otherwise been the healthiest and best relationship in my life, but I've been thinking on it hard because where are the boundaries? Choice Pool, Fin 971. Lady, if that was the healthiest relationship in your life, I feel you might want to take a break from dating and focus on therapy, because you are certainly going for the very low end of the dating pool. But if you really want to salvage this relationship and proceed with marriage, you need to put your foot down and establish that you will not allow yourself to be trampled on. Forget about not inviting her to your wedding. If your fiancé wants to have a wedding to begin with, this friend needs to be cut off from his life permanently, and without buts or compromises. Lol. Aside from this issue and minor spats, yes, I understand what you're saying, and I'm not endorsing his behavior, but there are far worse fates in relationships, through experience and not. He definitely isn't the low end of the dating pool. He's the upper end, which is part of the problem. You brought up valid points, which I appreciated. There can't be a compromise with this at all, unintelligent lemon girl. A man who doesn't put you first is the low end of the dating pool. Now for the 1-month update. Original bliff. I told my fiancé his best friend can't come to our wedding. She pretends I don't exist, and he does nothing to address it. The comments on my original post opened my eyes and made me realize that despite this being the healthiest relationship I've been in, it doesn't mean it's actually healthy. We've had a couple conversations surrounding this issue, which mostly consisted of me saying it bothered me and him saying I was the only one who cared. A couple things helped me realize my breaking point. 1. I asked him if he would be okay with our daughter's future partner treating them like this, to which he got flustered, shut down, and said he didn't want to talk about it. I left it alone. 2. He said he didn't want to end his friendship or do anything to jeopardize it because, what if we break up? This made me realize he would not protect me as his wife, since he didn't as his girlfriend. The final straw was when I expressed how much it bothered me that he wanted me to blow this off, since we, as in me and the best friend, only see each other 4 to 6 times a year, and he said, directly quoted, because this is burned into my brain. I know the way she treats you is garbage, but you're allowing one person to dictate our relationship. It could be worse. She could be more active. There are worse ways to meddle. People text and lie, and all that to break relationships up. The first line broke my heart and told me all I needed to know. I have to truck through a couple more months of pre-planned and paid-for social engagements, but I closed the curtain on any chance of healing this relationship the moment those words left his mouth. Thank you everyone for the advice, common sense, knocking me upside my head, and similar related experiences and outcomes. I'm going to go to therapy and redefine what a healthy, balanced, and communicative relationship. Edit. The pre-planned events aren't the wedding engagement related. We share a home, need to divide assets, pets, a custody schedule. Additionally, we have vacations planned with a mutually shared friend group, BF not part of that group. I appreciate the concerns, but I need to plan things out a little more. There will be no second chance. To those that keep saying they're freaking probably. When I first brought this up, he became stressed and kept emphasizing how I thought he was freaking his best friend and didn't address the issue that was brought up. I don't care to know or confirm. Edit 2. We are not getting married, continuing our relationship. For those thinking I'm using the pre-planned events to justify holding out good, absolutely freaking not. Our relationship was dead the moment he admitted she treated me like garbage and basically shrugged it off. As a note, I never asked him to cut anyone off out of his life. I simply asked for basic greetings and acknowledgement during the rare encounters with his BFF. This hasn't happened, aside from a couple of begrudging times. Now for a few more comments. Scenarioing. I know the way she treats you is garbage, but you're allowing one person to dictate our relationship. He is the one doing that. Function aggressive 75. This was WTH part. What a shitty thing to say. No excuse can save it. Who allows that kind of behavior? Who is okay with letting their SO put up with this? I don't know about OP's previous relationships, but this line on its own makes this relationship one of the worst. Yes, it did. My most recent relationship was with a narcissist who sexually, mentally, and emotionally abused me. So the bar was in hell, lol. Also, prior to this, I've never witnessed this behavior in my soon-to-be ex. Crazy old bag. Don't worry about the planned and prepaid events. Get out. Now, the relationship is dead. Don't wait until the stench unalives everyone around you. If the money is lost no matter what, skip on out and give yourself the gift of more time to heal and deal. Good luck, OP. You can do this. Now for the 3-month update. Original bluff. I told my fiancé his best friend can't come to our wedding. She pretends I don't exist, and he does nothing to address it. My ex-fiancé did begin to make an effort to include me and make sure I was addressed during group events, even though we'd already separated. Throughout the summer, we had many conversations, not in hopes of reconciling, but mostly to make sure he truly understood the cause of our breakup. He apologized while drunk for his messy and toxic friends, said he needed to reevaluate his friendships, and apologized for bringing them into my life. He changed his tune in later sober conversations. I was met with continued excuses and my point of view and feelings being brushed off. This isn't that big of a deal. I don't want to talk about it anymore. I have friends that have done worse. The explanation and insight I received is that the best friend was a side piece knowingly for like 7 to 10 years. The guy had a baby, bought his baby mother a house, car, and basically got married, all while stringing the friend along. As a result, the best friend has since always asserted herself as being the most important woman in her male friends' lives. All in all, I'm just going to go to therapy, heal some stuff, and move on. I'm starting piano lessons soon and taking a language class to pass my free time, also focusing on cooking again and moving my body. I'm going to lose about 40 to 50 pounds. Thanks everyone for commenting, offering solutions, and alternative points of view, including those who felt I was making a big deal out of nothing and that I was trying to make her be friends with me. Never wanted that. I felt crazy for a while, but I'm thankful for the random strangers on Reddit confirming I'm not. Now for a few comments. First commenter said, "I kept up with your post, and that man's an idiot. Threw everything away for a friend like that. To me, there's more than what he's saying, and I wouldn't be surprised if they end up together. But it's done now. He's not your problem, he's hers. Onward and upward." Another commenter added, "Jesus, your ex is an idiot. That girl doesn't actually want him. She just doesn't want anyone else to have his attention. Later, when he can't ignore that she is the problem, he's going to massively regret his choices here. Hopefully by that time, you'll be having a fantastic life and don't even think about him anymore. Am I the idiot for locking myself and my baby in a room after my husband neglected her? I'm female 23. My husband is male 28. We've been married for 4 years, together for 5. We met when I was 17, but didn't officially start dating until I was 18. My husband has done a lot for me, paid for entire semesters of college when my parents refused to complete a FAFSA, encouraged me to take out loans when we couldn't afford to pay for my tuition entirely, moved me away from abusive, toxic family members, but I'm really struggling with this. I had a baby 9 weeks ago. It was a rough birth. I was laid off from a really awesome job working in an office as a customer service rep due to budget cuts while pregnant. My husband swore he'd take care of us, we'd be able to survive off one income, etc. All that nonsense. I went through what little savings I had with a quickness, because even though he talked a big game of taking care of us all, he still insisted I pay my share of the bills. I'm still in unemployment appeal hell. I was applying to jobs left and right up until I was 38 weeks pregnant and realized no one was going to hire me so close to giving birth. I have a bachelor's degree and literally ended up getting a waitressing job at freaking Cracker Barrel just so I can have income coming in. My husband works a federal gov job and has 12 weeks of paid parental leave. He promised he'd watch over our girl while I worked to save money on daycare. I've been at this waitressing job for a little over a week. It's tough, going from an office setting to being on my feet all day. I'm in a lot of pain, but having some job is better than no job, so I just deal. The quality of care that my husband has been giving our daughter is getting worse and worse. I come home to her not being changed, not being fed, or her blowouts are so bad she has shoot up her back. I've tried talking nicely, I've tried being reasonable. I even suspected he had male postpartum depression or some shoot, and he told me he just couldn't connect with her, and all she does is cry and it's grating on his nerves. Today was the worst one yet. I came home to my daughter still in her crib, still in the pajamas she was in the night before. After I laid out clothes for her, she was red in the face from crying so much. I started to warm up a bottle and asked my husband when did he last feed her. His answer was, "Adik, I haven't given her a bottle today. She cries every time I try to hold her." I just lost my shoot on him. All hell flew through me, and I couldn't contain my anger. I called him a piece of shoot, neglectful father, and asked, why the frick did he knock me up, refuse, make me feel bad for using condoms if he wasn't going to take care of the child he helped create? I'm working 8-hour waitressing shifts, making $3 freaking an hour, plus tips, still bleeding, feet constantly hurt, trying to dry up this breast milk, all while putting on a fake butt smile and trying my damnedest to make money in tips to have enough to bring home and pay my share of the bills every 2 weeks. I ended up locking baby and myself in the bedroom and told him to just frick off and leave us alone. Managed to calm my daughter down with a bottle, a bath, and now she's napping, but I am still so freaking angry. My husband told his mom, I guess, and tattled on me. My mother-in-law decided to message me and give me a hard time because he doesn't know what he's doing. This is his first time being a parent. And yeah, I pushed a 7-pound watermelon out of my vag, and I'm still not neglecting my baby. I'm so angry and tired of this. Our daughter deserves better. Hell, I deserve better. I sent him a text that he either needs to shape up or ship the frick out, and his response was, "Where are you going to go?" And now I'm just beyond angry and frustrated with him and his level of care for the child he helped make. I'm even more angry that he ran to his mom, who can say something shitty to me but can't come over and help her son if he's feeling overwhelmed. My head is spinning, and I just need someone to set me straight. I keep wavering back and forth on if I am the jerk or not over this. I just want my daughter to have a competent father and not a neglectful one. If I could up and leave him to make him face reality, I would, just to show him I'm not freaking around. Now for some comments. Capable Corgi 5392 said, "NTA, but you need to leave." He's verbalized that he doesn't connect with the baby, that the crying is grating on his nerves, and he has shown no empathy towards the baby. That puts him at high risk of shaking your baby. Melusina Queen added, "This is exactly what I think. This type of neglect not only leads to abuse, it actually is abuse." An old love commented, "Yeah, TF. Did I read that right? That he essentially didn't feed his infant child for the entirety of the mother's shift, and he's wondering why the baby is freaking screaming? I'm fired up on OP's behalf just thinking about it. And the mother-in-law, he doesn't know what to do, which please. I'm a first-time mom. But basic but common sense would tell you the child needs to be fed and changed at the freaking least. Holy shoot, I'm mad. Straight up abuse." Miss Fear added, "NTA, please get your baby away from him ASAP." Starting with the post, "Not the idiot, but you cannot leave the baby home alone with him again. This baby is being abused if left in his care. Do you have a friend or family you could move in with? You need to protect your child and yourself. Him having depression is not an excuse." When OP was asked if this started when the swinging ended, he said, 6 years of misery sound awful. I would very much hate that. Now for a few important comments. Neglect, he starved the baby. She may have brain damage from dehydration. Take her to the ER for IV fluids and to document the abuse. Now for the one-day update. Hi guys, I'm back with a small update. First things first, I ended up taking baby girl to the hospital last night after my soon-to-be ex-husband left to go drink or do whatever. I waited until he was gone and packed a small bag with all of our important information and went to the emergency room since my daughter's pediatrician is closed until Monday. She was looked over and they kept her overnight for observation after I told them everything. She had a rash, they tested for a UTI, and I expressed my concerns over her having shaken baby syndrome, which wasn't something that even crossed my mind until a lot of people mentioned it in my first comments. The emergency room doctor said she was alert and bright and very unhappy with the IV. She cried so hard when they stuck her with the needle, so they wanted to observe her first before putting her through a CT scan. She was dehydrated, so she had to have an IV put in. I think I got maybe 4 hours of sleep throughout the whole ordeal. She is such a happy, smiley, drooly little baby, and my heart breaks for what she had to deal with at the hands of her father. I will have to have a CPS case opened against me and her father for his neglect. I'm going to cooperate with them, so it helps me gain as much physical and legal custody over her. I don't feel confident that when we divorce and he is granted some type of custody, this won't happen again. Since I called out of both of my weekend shifts and Monday shift to go to social services, best believe I am applying for everything: SNAP, WIC, TANF, medical insurance, etc. I don't think I will have a job at Cracker Barrel much longer, but I literally took that job just to have a job. A couple of people messaged me with remote jobs that I might be able to get with my degree. Once we're settled in the shelter, I'm also hoping they will be able to help me find a decent job, hire an attorney that won't cost $5,000 for me to divorce my husband, and help me set up child support payments. He can frick all the way off into the sunset for all I care, but I didn't knock myself up by myself. So many of you were kind, offering me places to crash and support. I am so thankful and cried a lot. A lot of you have been in my situation and gave me words of hope when I was feeling really down and dumb over my choices. I have a hotel room for the next 2 nights, thanks to awesome people in this sub. We are going to the shelter on Monday, where we can start rebuilding pieces of our lives. And honestly, I wouldn't shed a tear if my soon-to-be ex decides to just give up his parental rights. I've practically been a single parent for the past 9 weeks. What's another 18 years of doing it by myself? I literally left with the clothes on my back and a bag for us both to share, so the thought of just starting from scratch is terrifying, but I know it's what I have to do. I know a lot of people were worried about us and our safety, but we are safe. We are okay, for the most part. I still go back and forth, from sadness to rage to feeling down and being angry at my 17-year-old self for thinking an older man would take care of me, and it turned out to be a bunch of lies. I have blocked my mother-in-law and soon-to-be ex, and I'm genuinely thinking of changing my phone number to cut off all communication with them both, unless I'm ordered to by a court or something. I just want to wash my hands clean of him and pretend he doesn't exist. I can never trust him, or his mom, really, again with my daughter. As someone who didn't grow up with a father, and it made my mom hate me because I looked like him, I have a very clear memory of her throwing a pot of water at me because I made a face that looked like my dad's. Part of me hurts for my daughter because I sure picked a shitty sperm donor for her, but she deserves so much better than him. I will post again on Monday for everyone once we are safe in the shelter. Now for a few comments. One commenter said, "I would unblock them so you have the evidence of their horribleness in court. That's my one piece of advice. Other than that, I'm just really proud of you. It's so hard to uproot your whole life with no safety net, but you're doing amazing. Please keep us posted on how you're thriving." Another commenter added, "Unblock, but mute. You don't need to hear that vitriolic crap, but your lawyer will be able to use it in court." Then another commenter suggested, "This is the answer. Don't block, but definitely mute and simply turn it over to your lawyer. You don't need to look at it, but it will probably be good to have." Now for the 6-hour update. To make a very long story short, I am 23, he is 28. We officially started dating when I was 18 and he was 23. He groomed me, manipulated me, and has shown himself to be a horrible, neglectful, and hurtful person. I had to leave him and take our 9-week-old daughter to the emergency room because while I was working, while he's on paid parental leave, he left our daughter in a soiled diaper, no change of clothes, and didn't feed her. I ended up taking her to the emergency room where I found out she has a rash. She was dehydrated and had to have an IV put in. He couldn't connect with her and said her crying was grating on his nerves and pushed me to go back to work so we could save on daycare. A CPS case will be opened against us both because the emergency room doctor is a mandated reporter. I'm terrified of her being taken away from me because I thought I could trust him to watch the child he helped create. He tried to pressure me into having intimacy before my 6-week checkup/before I was ready. He got mad when I had an IUD placed at my 6-week appointment because I wanted something more permanent for birth control because of his refusal to wear condoms. I'm terrified of the consequences of his actions, even though I'm the one who left. I'm the one going to a women's shelter on Monday. I'm going to ask about legal aid to get the divorce process rolling. I'm terrified of him ending up with some sort of physical custody, and he neglects her on his time. I called out of my weekend shifts and my shift on Monday, and I'm pretty sure I won't have a job to go back to, but I don't care. My daughter is more important. She is such a smiley, happy, drooly little girl with big blue eyes and the cutest little dot nose, and I'm so angry and frustrated and sad for her that her father turned out to be this way. I'm terrified that I won't be able to divorce him, and be free of him. I'm scared to start from scratch. I left with the clothes on my back and our important paperwork and more stuff for baby girl than myself. I haven't showered in over 24 hours, and I think I slept maybe 4 hours last night. I keep looking at my sweet baby. The anxiety in the pit of my stomach is ending the life of me. We are going to the shelter on Monday, where we can start rebuilding pieces of our lives. And honestly, I wouldn't shed a tear if my soon-to-be ex decides to just give up his parental rights. I've practically been a single parent for the past 9 weeks. What's another 18 years of doing it by myself? I literally left with the clothes on my back and a bag for us both to share, so the thought of just starting from scratch is terrifying, but I know it's what I have to do. His own mother tried to defend him, saying he didn't know any better, and it was his first time being a parent. But I'm not the one who left my newborn in a shitty, piss-soaked diaper and let her be filthy and hungry and cry until she was red in the face from needing someone. I don't know if I can ever forgive myself for what she had to go through, because I was pressured into going back to work to pay my share of the bills at the adamance of her father. I just want to wash my hands clean of him and pretend he doesn't exist. I can never trust him, or his mom really, again with my daughter. As someone who didn't grow up with a father, and it made my mom hate me because I looked like him, I have a very clear memory of her throwing a pot of water at me because I made a face that looked like my dad's. Part of me hurts for my daughter because I sure picked a shitty sperm donor for her, but she deserves so much better than him. Now for a few comments. Hey, former domestic violence advocate here. Can you file an emergency protective order? Also, if he was the main income, your divorce lawyer fees can be put on him. Reach out to your local legal aid or do a free consult with a lawyer. You made some very hard choices. I hope you feel proud of protecting yourself and your baby. Leaving is the hardest, scariest part, but there is a beautiful, happier, safe life waiting for both of you on the other side of this. Hold your ground. You got this. As someone in a similar situation, and I wish while I was with my ex had gotten CPS involved. 2 years later, we did have an investigation, but at this point, I can only say what I saw 2 years ago. Now that CPS is involved, they are going to want OP to file an ex parte order so that she can show her protective capacity. Please OP file that with all the endangerment you have witnessed.